Hello everybody and welcome to this week's episode of Social Quiztancing, our tiny little bit of trivia to keep your brain in shape while the library is closed for patrons. So hopefully you guys are out there doing well and enjoying the summer and being able to do things outside, and it's very hot, but stuff like that. And of course we're open for curbside checkout, and don't forget to bring in your summer reading calendars and get your prizes if you haven't gotten them yet. So as usual, today we're going to give you 15 questions. We'll start with the general knowledge round of 5 questions, then 5 questions in a connections round where I give you 4 apparently random clues and you have to tell me what the hidden connection is. And then we have 5 questions in our special round that changes every week. So why don't we get off to the quiz. Give yourself a point for every answer you get correct. I'll tell you where you can get some additional points in the connections round. And after the quiz, after I read you all the questions, I'll take a brief pause, I'll read you the answers, and then you can see how you did. If you're liking the quiz, feel free to let us know. We have a survey up right now on all our digital programs. If you're enjoying the quiz and want to see more of it, or if there are other digital programs you'd like to see or want to give us feedback on other things, if you'll be homeschooling or remote learning in the fall, and there's things you'd like to see the library provide for you, please give us your feedback. You can find that on our either of our social media accounts or in our newsletter, which most of you receive. If you don't subscribe to our newsletter, feel free to go to Desmond-Fish-Library.org and sign up for one right there. And if you still can't find it, just shoot an email to Ryan@DesmondFishLibrary.org and I will send you a copy of the survey. If you have any quiz questions you'd like me to use on the show or anything like that, feel free to send them in, or ideas for our special rounds. I sometimes run out of ideas for that. Would love to hear it. So let's get into the general knowledge round this week. We have some good questions. So first question. A hamster can fit how much of its body weight into its cheeks? 1/8, 1/4, or 1/2? How much weight of its body weight can a hamster fit into its cheeks? Number 2. Which TV series in which 6 main cast members all have first names beginning with the same letter has run for 18 seasons since October 2007? Number 3. Which fruit has a name that comes from the medieval Latin for seeded apple? Seeded apple. What fruit is that? And number 4. What is the name of the airplane that transports the world's most valuable racehorse? So there's an airplane that transports the world's most valuable racehorse. What is it called? You will find this delightful. And number 5 in our general knowledge round. Dr. Seuss's publisher bet $50 that he could not write a book using only 50 words. What classic Seuss book won that bet? What classic Seuss book uses only maximum of 50 words? I know that it's supposed to be Dr. Seuss or something like that, but you know we all say Dr. Seuss, so his daddy doesn't care. Okay, now we move on to the connections round. So in this round, I give you 4 apparently random clues and you tell me what the hidden connection is. So if I gave you John, Paul, George, and Dung, you would tell me that they are all kinds of beetles, right? Okay, so I will give you, I'm gonna raise this camera a little bit so you can see a little better. I'm going to give you them in successive order, and so if you get it after the first one is shown, so you only get 1 clue but you know what the connection is going to be, give yourself 5 points. If you get it after 2 connections, give yourself 3 points. If you get it after 3 connections, give yourself 2 points, and if you get it after all the connections have been shown, give yourself 1 point. Or give yourself, as I always say, give yourself however many points you think you deserve, because this is just for fun and just for you, really. Okay. So, this one's got quite a lot of text on it. So, Moyer, I think that's how you pronounce it, by William Carlos Williams. Jubilat Agno by Christopher Smart. She Sights a Bird, She Chuckles by Emily Dickinson. And The Rum Tum Tugger by T.S. Eliot. What do those 4 things have in common? Next. Damon Thomas, Lamar Odom, Chris Humphreys, and Scott Disick. Damon Thomas, Lamar Odom, Chris Humphreys, and Scott Disick. Which of those 4 people have in common? Next we have Phlox, Julian Bashir, Beverly Crusher, and Leonard McCoy. What do those 4 things have in common? Number 4. Xenocanthus, Cratoxyrhina, Helicoprion, and Megalodon. Xenocanthus, Cratoxyrhina, Helicoprion, and Megalodon. What do those 4 things have in common? And lastly, in our connections round, Normani, Kylie Jenner, Megan Thee Stallion, and Cardi B. Normani, Kylie Jenner, Megan Thee Stallion, and Cardi B. What's the connection between those 4 things? Okay, and now we're going to move into our special round this week. And our special round this week is actually something that we've done before a couple months ago. I think right after we started doing the quiz, we did this round. But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you clues for 2 movies. And the last word of the first movie is the first word in the last movie. So they make a sort of combined mashup movie. So let's say the clues were, the first clue would be Julia Roberts nuptial-based rom-com. That, of course, is My Best Friend's Wedding. And the second one would be Adam Sandler movie with a Billy Idol cameo that was turned into a Broadway musical, of course, is The Wedding Singer. So we make My Best Friend's Wedding Singer. Got it? So movie, mashups, first word, last word, that whole thing. Okay, I'll give you the 2 clues, and you have to figure out what those 2 movies are and then mash them up together. Okay? Cool. So your first clue is animated classic version of a Rudyard Kipling book features a man cub as its central character. And the second movie, 2010 post-apocalyptic Denzel Washington vehicle. So what are those 2 movies, and what do they make smushed together? Okay. Number 2, your first clue is Julia Stiles and Heath Ledger star in a quintessentially 90s version of Taming of the Shrew. And James Bond goes to Japan in this Connery-era movie with a screenplay by Roald Dahl. What are those 2 movies, and what do they make together? Number 3, first clue. A raccoon and a tree make up part of the cast in this well-soundtracked Marvel space romp. And number 2, a Star Trek parody with a big heart. This cult classic stars Tim Allen, Sigourney Weaver, and Alan Rickman. So what are those 2 movies, and what do they make together? Number 4, Henry Fonda helms this devastating, masterful adaptation of Steinbeck's Depression novel. And William Shatner's iconic scream is barely a match for Ricardo Montalban's scenery chewing in this quintessential adventure for the Enterprise crew. What are those two movies together? And lastly, children's prehistoric adventure movie remembered for a devastating parental death. And absurd Jean-Claude Van Damme cult classic featuring agents of the Time Enforcement Commission. So what are those two movies and what do they make together? Okay. I'm going to pause for a second and chat with you briefly so that anyone who wants to pause right now and not hear the answers can take off right now or fill in any answers that they've forgotten. And I'm going to tell you the answers to the questions beginning now. Okay, my first question was, a hamster can fit how much of its body weight into its cheeks? 1/8, 1/4, or 1/2? That is 1/4. Hamster can fit 1/4 of its own body weight into its cheeks. That is impressive. I can't do that even with my beard. But if it gave me extra space, that would be cool. I guess but I'm not rarely transporting nuts into my burrow, so maybe not. Number 2, which TV series, in which 6 main cast members all have first names beginning with the same letter, has run for 18 seasons since October 2007? That is, of course, Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Yep. You have, of course, Kourtney, Khloe, Kim, Kris, Kylie, and Kendall. Number 3, which fruit has a name that comes from the medieval Latin for seeded apple? And that would be the pomegranate, which is a sort of seeded apple, right? Kind of. Apples have seeds, but it's more seeded. It's a seedier apple, I guess. What is the name of the airplane that transports the world's most valuable racehorse? It is Air Horse One. Please tell me that you guys guessed that. It's just an excellent pun that I really enjoyed. Air Horse One. And number 5 in our general knowledge round. Dr. Seuss's publisher bet $50 that he could not write a book using only 50 words. What classic Dr. Seuss work won that bet? It is, of course, Green Eggs and Ham. I will not eat it with in the box. I will not eat it with a fox. I will not eat it here or there. I will not eat it anywhere, etc., etc. There's a lot of repeating words, and so he's able to keep that word cut in. I think it's a rite of passage for parents to, at some point, make your kids green eggs and ham that they hate. So I think this weekend I'm going to do that. Right, now we come to the connections round. There's some tough ones this week. Sorry about that. Let's get started. So the first one I gave you was Moyer, I think, by William Carlos Williams. Jubilat Agno by Christopher Smart. She Sights a Bird, She Chuckles by Emily Dickinson. And the giveaway, I think I hear at the end, The Rum Tum Tugger by T.S. Eliot. And these are all poems about cats. Poems about cats. The Christopher Smart poem, Jubilat Echo, is a very, very long poem, but there's a famous segment where he talks about In Praise of My Cat, Joffrey, which is a great poem. Take a look at it. Next we have Damon Thomas, Lamar Odom, Chris Humphreys, and Scott Disick. Who are these people? They are Kardashian exes. Kardashian exes. So Damon Thomas and Chris Humphreys both were once married to Kim Kardashian. Lamar Odom is the ex-husband of Khloe Kardashian. And Scott Disick, Lord Scott Disick, is of course the ex-partner of Kourtney. And yes. Next up, we have Phlox, Julian Bashir, Beverly Crusher, and Leonard McCoy. And these are all chief medical officers on Star Trek. Phlox the Doctor from Enterprise, the original Enterprise, NX-01. Julian Bashir is the Doctor on Deep Space Nine. Beverly Crusher, of course, from Next Generation, and Leonard McCoy from the original series. We have two themes this week. Apparently, we have Star Trek and the Kardashians, so you've identified my interests, I guess. All right, this one we have Xenacanthus, Cratoxyrhina, Helicoprion, and Megalodon. And these are prehistoric sharks. Prehistoric sharks. Megalodon, of course, being the most famous, giant one. Helicoprion was in the news not too long ago because they had the most insane jaw I've ever seen. It's a spiral. It sort of looks like an ammonite if you've ever seen one of those. It's a complete spiral of their lower jaw, at least, of teeth going around in a circle that almost look like it should turn like a buzzsaw. It's a very, very strange animal. All right, and lastly for this round, we have Normani, Kylie Jenner, Megan Thee Stallion, and Cardi B. Well, this is our current events one. These are all women who are in the video for the song that made a splash over the weekend called WAP. W-A-P, all in caps. The Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion collaboration that made some headlines this weekend. Normani and Kylie Jenner are both in that video. Yeah, we have a real Kardashian thing that happened this week. So sorry about that, or not really sorry about that. I don't know. Anyway, let's get into our smushed up movies round. So the first one I gave you was animated classic version of a Rudyard Kipling book. Features a man cub as its central character. And 2010 post-apocalyptic Denzel Washington vehicle. Together, those are the Jungle Book of Eli. The Jungle Book and the Book of Eli. The Jungle Book of Eli. Next, Julia Stiles and Heath Ledger star in a quintessentially 90s version of Taming of the Shrew. And James Bond goes to Japan in this Connery-era movie with a screenplay by Roald Dahl. And that is 10 Things I Hate About You Only Live Twice. So 10 Things I Hate About You and You Only Live Twice. 10 Things I Hate About You Only Live Twice. Next, a raccoon and a tree make up part of the cast in this well-soundtracked Marvel space romp. And a Star Trek parody with a big heart, this cult classic stars Tim Allen, Sigourney Weaver, and Alan Rickman. Is the Guardians of the Galaxy Quest. Galaxy Quest and Guardians of the Galaxy. Next, Henry Fonda helms this devastating, masterful adaptation of Steinbeck's Depression novel. And William Shatner's iconic scream is barely a match for Ricardo Montalban's scenery chewing in this quintessential adventure for the Enterprise crew. And that is The Grapes of Wrath of Khan. Grapes of Wrath of Khan. The Grapes of Wrath of Khan. And lastly, children's prehistoric adventure movie remembered for a devastating parental death, and absurd Jean-Claude Van Damme cult classic featuring agents of the Time Enforcement Commission. That is The Land Before Time Cop. Time Cop, which I love, and The Land Before Time. The Land Before Time Cop. And that's it for this week, so thank you for joining us this week on Social Quiztancing, and we will see you next week back here at 6 o'clock. Stay safe, wash your hands, wear a mask, and have a great week. Bye, everyone.